What's up guys, I'm G5 Cosmos here for Game 5 Smash, and this is going to be weekly review number 2. So for those of you who don't know, every week I do a giveaway where you have a chance to win a game review just like this one that will go up to this channel. All you have to do to enter is subscribe right here to the YouTube channel, follow at Game 5 Smash on Twitter, and like and retweet whatever the latest coaching giveaway tweet happens to be at the time that you watch this video. With that said, let's move on to the review. So this week's winner is a Chrom player who goes by Sword, and he's going to be playing this set against Dusty Carpet, who is the Shulk player, and here we have Game 3. It is currently 1-1. Now, this was played in an online tournament, so that is a factor, but we're going to be trying to look at it as we can apply things to the local setting. Alright, so right off here we see that Sword definitely knows how to do good pressure with Chrom, but he does make an issue here where he goes for the jab and then he goes for a down tilt. So this is something that's going to be very common online, and I did talk about this in my last video as well, something I call snowballing. This is not exactly the main concept of snowballing, because snowballing is usually when you're doing defensive options to cover other options, or not necessarily defensive options, but you do something that can get you punished, and then you want to do something else to avoid getting punished for that thing, but then these things kind of just snowball and stack on top of each other and just create more and more opportunities for you to get punished, whereas you could have just done one option and then retreated or shielded or something to avoid getting punished. In this situation, it's more sort of the aggressive side of snowballing. So he swings this jab here and he doesn't really react to whether the jab connects or not, and he immediately goes for a down tilt, anticipating that the jab would hit shield and that the down tilt would then subsequently also be the one to hit the shield. So this jab does connect. So even if, you know, it's online and maybe it's harder to react to whether this thing is going to connect or not, I would recommend that if you're playing a character like Chrom, go for the jab as the later option. If you want to do a down tilt, you could start with that. But the thing is, if somebody jumps, the down tilt is not going to catch them, like unless they jump really late or something, because the down tilt only hits really low. But if you do a jab, it can catch somebody jumping out of shield. So the jab is much better to go for as the second option. Forward tilt as well. And they're all pretty safe on shield if you have the right spacing, which is pretty easy to do with Chrom. Because you see he goes for that down tilt there and he gets clipped, but he still manages to find the up air, so it works out. Here too, and this is what you can see though, like I said, he is kind of mashing the options on shield without you know, and just going for them, and Dusty Carpet knows about this. That's why he goes for this roll. This is, I mean, this is the roll in equivalent, but I mentioned this in the how to roll or when to roll video. This is a prime example, is that when people are just mashing on your shield, you have opportunities to roll in between them. You're much better trying to do something like that than going for like a grab or a punish that you probably don't have. So you see Dusty gets hit here, and then he immediately rolls behind. And since Sword, you know, likes to keep pressing buttons on block, that's what he does. So Sword, I can already see this is definitely something he can improve on, because we've seen this twice in just the few seconds that the game has started, where he can do one option on the shield and then wait for the second option. If it's a roll like this, he can react to it. If the player starts rolling away, you'll have to kind of read that to get the punish, but you still get stage positioning out of it, so it's worth it. And the last time he jumped, so I don't blame him going for the hit here because he did jump last time, but either way he could wait. In this situation, you're better off turning around and doing a forward tilt or a jab, for example. The up tilt has a lot more lag, and in general, with Chrom, it's not worth going for up tilt in many positions unless you have like a guaranteed anti-air where you'll kill with the move. But even then, you probably would kill with forward tilt or like a jab to back air combo or jab to forward air combo anyway. So Chrom's up tilt's usually not worth going for. But he does connect like the later hitbox of it, so it's a little safer that way. Okay, so you can see here, they're both kind of just jumping and doing falling aerials, but Dusty catches on first, and then he runs in and waits for the jump. So look at it, how he runs in here. He runs in and waits, and then he sees that Sword jumps, and then he goes in and catches him right there on reaction. As far as plays like that, like when you're that close to somebody, if you're jumping and going for a falling aerial, you can easily get clipped. You can get hit by something. So if you're right up close, it's usually good to go for like a rising aerial, which Chrom has great options for. You know, he can do rising fair, rising nair. Nair usually the best one, but fair can sometimes give you good results as well because it has such low end lag in the air. And or if you have space to do so, retreat and then go for your jump for your aerial. But in this position, Sword didn't really have that space. See, and here's again the kind of thing, like I said, you know, mashing one option after the other. He goes for this nair and then immediately goes for a forward tilt, but by the time that before he has a chance to forward tilt, Dusty is already jumping over. This is the same concept as like spot dodge habits that people will have sometimes, like they'll do an aerial and they'll spot dodge. The other person just jumps over it, and then that's just a great strat to go for in general. Somebody whiffs something, and if you don't have like a guaranteed punish, but you know that you can jump safely, just jump like the Shulk does here. And then see what they do. If they whiff, if they spot dodge, even if they jump, like usually you can get a punish on just the next thing they do. So waiting for the next option is a great strat, which you see works really well here for Dusty. And on the other end of the spectrum, like if you're in Sword's position here as the Chrom, you do something like this, like a whiff. It's good to take a breath, see how the situation changes, see what happens. But again, Sword, if you're watching this, this might be like an online thing. You might do this kind of play more online. I know I do myself. In the few times that I do play online, I'm more likely to do something like this because online you don't really have the opportunity to react as much and you have to make more guesses. But I want to try and get the fundamental lessons out of this that would apply to offline play as much as possible. So I'm going to bring it up. You see that forward tilt. Dusty does a perfect job of punishing that. Okay, something that I did notice watching the earlier games in the set as well as this one is that Sword has a definite habit of jumping from the ledge. Jumping from the ledge is a generally good option, but there's no right option at ledge. It's, everything loses to being red, and sometimes can be reacted to as well. Jump is pretty hard to reactively punish, like before the person has time to air dodge or whatever, but if you do it every time, especially a character with giant range like Shulk's going to cover it. And I think Dusty may have been looking for it here with that back air. He might have been trying to cover a few options, because he was falling with the back air. Back air hits, not as big vertically, so it's not going to be as likely to catch him there. Okay, good weight here. This is something that you guys can definitely learn from watching Sword play. This is a great play. So many times here, I'll see players go for like another immediate follow-up when maybe they're not sure if they have like another up air or whatever. But since there's a platform here, what you see Sword does is he jumps up and then he waits, and then he times the aerial. And this is so good for catching text on the platform. And the great thing about this play is that even if you don't hit the opponent, even if you get nothing off of it, doing the up air on the way down lets you have less lag. So you just, do the up air and then you land immediately and then you can act again. So you could even sometimes, like certain characters in certain situations on platforms, probably Chrom could do it here too if the platform wasn't moving away, but they could get like a frame trap where they do falling up air and then maybe the falling up air is too early to catch the tech in place or something, and then they could frame trap like an up tilt then after they land. Cloud can do this as well, like, do like a falling up air to catch the person teching on a platform, and then if they're too early, then they just throw out an up tilt, and as long as it's in the same spot, it'll catch it. It's a good play. Okay, and you see the same thing, Sword using the same good kind of roll here. What is it? Right here, he gets his shield hit, and then he's not really confident that he can punish or whatever, so he rolls out of the way. But you see, that's something that Dusty is doing well, is Dusty is not, like, mashing on shield. So he does this nair, and then he just kind of stands there and switches Monado. So that's where you can see that Dusty is, like, a step ahead in terms of these close quarters encounters, where he hits a shield. In other words, if, when we see that Sword is hitting the shield, he's, Sword and shield, huh? He's swinging again a lot of times. It also is a Chrom thing. Chrom can swing a lot on people's shields, but you see that Sword hit the shield there, and he didn't wait. And like, Shulk could do that too. Like, he could like hit somebody's shield with a nair and then down tilt or jab or something. But he's just being more collected, and then he immediately reacts to Sword, rolling behind him. Not in a way that he could punish it, but just like reset neutral and not give him another opportunity by whipping something. Okay. And see, you guys didn't see the earlier games of this set, and I'm not going to include them because it would just make the video too long, but this is a play that Sword likes to go for a lot. He'll hit somebody in the ledge like this, and he starts charging a forward smash because he wants them to air dodge, like directional air dodge in, like they get hit off stage and they directional air dodge back on stage. In general, I would say it's not that bad of a play, because usually if somebody is going to get back on stage, they're going to get hit by the forward smash, so it's safe because they have to go off stage to avoid it somewhat. But people can also punish it with double jump, and just in general, this was not working in any of the other games of the set, so it's not going to work now. Like, Dusty's not going to give him that air dodge, so I would think he should stop going for this play as soon as he sees that the opponent doesn't do that panic air dodge, because he can get a lot more off of this situation. And he kind of gives, he has to shield at this point because he has the lag from the forward smash. So after this, it kind of gives Dusty a route to get back onto the stage. Okay. Again, good play here from Sword collected. You don't have to roll necessarily, but he hits the shield with the forward tilt, then just runs back. And if Dusty had done a more committal drift here with this nair, so like Dusty goes for this nair right here, if he had done like a full hop nair or like something drifting far to the left, then this dash back from Sword would also have given him a whiff punish. Like, he would have landed right where Sword is going, and then he would have been able to get like a turnaround jab or a forward tilt or whatever he wanted, pretty much, even a forward smash. Okay, there's a little bit of a short of an undershot nair here from Sword, and this is another thing that I was noticing pre-watching this, is that Dusty catches Sword a lot by retreating, and then Sword is not overshooting. So I'll revisit this later in certain scenarios, but I mean, any character can do this, but I think with Shulk it's particularly intimidating because of all the range he has. So Shulk is like an extreme zoner with his aerials, or he can play an extreme zoning game with his aerials, where he'll, you know, be putting up a wall of aerials, and then as soon as they see that you start moving towards them, then they'll just jump backward with the same aerial, and then it baits you to swing early, and then you get punished by the aerial that they jumped back and then drifted back in to catch you. So overshooting is a good way to play around that. Also, you can just approach non-committally and let them retreat, let them give up the space. This is the first example that I'm noticing where we see Sword jumps in with the Nair, and Dusty retreated, but he didn't get a good punish. You'll see towards the end this happens a lot more. And he tries to get his way. A lot of times in the corner as well, you'll see it happen. That's good patience there. Just wait on the platform. You know, Chrom has the airspeed to get around the situations a lot. Yeah, again here, this is definitely a big problem, like I said. You see he goes for 2 down tilts on the shield here. If he did down tilt jab here, it would have caught the jump, I'm fairly certain. But that being said, like, mashing 2 options on the shield has not been working out for him, so that's something he should definitely be catching on to and not going for as much. Okay. Yeah, some just little spaghetti there. Nothing huge to point out. You see the jump from the ledge again. And yeah, this is something that you guys, if you're fighting Chrom or Roy, you have to be really careful of. Whenever Roy or Chrom throw out a fair, just as long as it's not like a landing fair. I mean, even if it's a landing fair, it has low landing lag, but they can act really, really quickly in the air. So there's actually something that you'll notice that some Roy players, like when Tweak was playing Roy, I noticed this, is he would intentionally whiff a full hop forward air in neutral. I mean, I say a whiff, it could have caught jumps, but I think he was doing it intentionally to make it seem like an opportunity to whiff punish him, but then he would immediately go for a falling up air after the forward air, and because it has such little lag, it's deceiving. So just like in this situation, he goes for the fair on shield here, and then immediately just does a jumping up air to catch the jump right there, which is retreating also. So even if Dusty stays on the platform, Sword is pretty safe with that, because look how far away from the platform he lands. So that's something you really got to be careful about with the Roy Chroms. Okay. Yeah, the defensive play against Smash is working out really well for him here. You see Dusty keeps wanting him to move in, but he's not giving him that chance. See right here also, this is not like exactly the same thing, but notice how he goes for this full hop fair here, and then he immediately has time to do a falling up air out of it. And that gives a lot of reward for Chrom or Roy. Okay. You always want to be careful with up B out of shield, like Cloud players, Roy and Chrom players. I mean, I think he thought his shield was going to get hit here, and it's something that's tricky online too, but with those kind of options, if you want to be consistent, you really, really want to make sure that your shield gets hit, and then you go for the option, not just guessing that your shield is going to get hit. Yeah, and this is something that that Sword wants to look out for too, is we were talking about jumping from ledge. I think Dusty does it a lot too. We're jumping back onto stage with Jump Monado, but just in general, jumping back on stage with like forward airs have been catching him a lot. So when Sword is ledge trapping, I think he should do a little bit more retreating. Like he keeps baiting the option. So it's kind of like the space baiting concept that I talked about. Is that, or the reverse of it at least. Since Sword is standing here, it's baiting the other player to try and hit him by like jumping back on stage with the fair, for example. So by doing that, then he could retreat late and then catch that jump back on option. I mean, at this point, he's on the platform, so he's not going to be able to do it. But even so, he could like short hop off the platform, moving back here to catch that kind of play. And he's been getting caught a lot for these air dodges, which is a lot of credit to Dusty in general. You know, he could opt to recover low as well, but that's really risky because Shulk has a counter, so it's pretty tough for, I mean, yeah, it's pretty tough for Chrom in that position. There are like other options, but it's like, what does he prepare for? Like once you see him go low, I think he's already used his jump here. Let me double check. He uses his jump, yeah, right here. And at this point, he's in a tricky spot. He could air dodge up here and maybe land on the platform. But yeah, that's just a really good play from Dusty, honestly. Like there are mix-ups, like he could up B early or something, but it's a bad position for Shulk to be in for sure. Yeah, it's like this position too. We've seen so many high recoveries or high ledge options from Dusty in the other games as well, which I said you guys didn't see, but he keeps going to like cover neutral. I mean, the jab can catch jump from ledge also, but I think Sword should be retreating a lot every time, and then, you know, retreating is always safe at ledge anyway, because you don't let your opponent get out of the corner, even if you miss your chance at covering their ledge option. I wouldn't recommend that you do it every single time, but in this situation, this would be working out for Sword, because Dusty keeps jumping off the ledge here. And so does Sword, as you see right there. Like, that's two ledge jumps in a row. That's a big thing that's getting him caught. Same thing there. He does retreat there. Doesn't actually get the interaction, but even there, too. Sometimes with Chrom, I'm not super sure if this is like the best option, but I think it is. When you're going for traps like this, instead of going for grab, I think jab's actually better, because if somebody spot dodges jab, I'm pretty sure the jab has less cooldown than a grab. Like, if you jab here and he spot dodges, I think he could like jab again, or maybe down tilt, or at least shield the next option faster. I'd have to check the frames on that one, but I feel like jab might actually be a better tool to deal with like somebody landing here in case they spot dodge, because it's also safe on shield. Nothing wrong with a grab though. In this position, if he wants to move out of the corner like this, I would recommend if he's going to jump, it might be good to have a hitbox out, like go for a nair. At the same time, if Dusty retreats here, then the nair would get him punished, so it is a bit of a guessing game. But since he's just like zoning with aerials here, like going for a short hop nair, just moving forward a little bit to catch him where he is might work out nicely. This is kind of like the hero syndrome, I call it. When somebody's spacing and zoning with really, really slow aerials, you might have a tendency to want to move in quicker. So it really requires you to be conscious of how fast the aerial that a person has an opportunity to go for is. Usually you can be aware of what the options are. Like Shulk is zoning with an aerial with his back to you. It's more times than not going to be a back air. So you have to account for that little bit difference in speed. Again, it's a tricky thing online, but like Sword runs in here. This timing for a fair would probably work out, because the Shulk's fair is much faster than his back air, or somewhat faster than his back air. I don't know if I'd say much, probably much, but you know, don't want to lie to the frames. Then again here, this is what I'm talking about the overshooting. So we'll notice that Shulk is around here, and then he's in that position. Let's go back a few frames to give you... I want to show you, this is what's in the player's mind. So when Sword sees Dusty here, he's thinking, okay, so now he's going to jump straight up again, or he's going to jump up. He's in this vicinity, and I'm going to go for this fair. So now if you look at where Sword is here, and you look at where... Dusty was, it makes a lot of sense why he would go for a play like this. But especially when somebody has all this space, like Dusty does, they're very often going to retreat, and you want to be, you want to be careful about that and look for that, especially if that's something they go for. So if you're Sword here and you want to make this approach, you want to overshoot. So you want to swing this fair, not here, but you want to swing it ahead. So you want to run extra far forward. It's basically a little read. You want to read that the person's going to retreat and then go for the fair where they run off to. You can kind of react as it's happening, like in case they don't. But it is still somewhat of a read. Or if he's not confident that he's going to retreat, then take it a little slower, like just go for a short hop in place, or run forward, run in and shield, for example, to see where the player goes. That can be a good way to deal with people who retreat. But otherwise, this is exactly what the retreating player wants you to do, is to try and hit them where they were, then you avoid them by the retreat, you force them to whiff, and then you come back in and get a punish just like that. We have seen that this is another one of Sword's smaller habits. A lot of times when he's in the corner, he does like to go for rolls towards the center of the stage. It's a decently common habit too. Like he goes for one here. In this position, I think he had a punish anyway, but I want to look at the bigger point there. Like I think he could just jab. I think he could do a lot of things here. Jab, grab would probably work out. And then you see a little bit of spaghetti, a little bit of snowballing afterward. He rolls, and then he's like, oh crap, I rolled. So now he goes for a jab, because he was already... deciding too early to go for the jab, because before he rolled, he would have been behind Shulk. We can get to a good frame to show you, and where the jab might have connected. It's hard to say because they're rolling at the same time, but then he goes for that. Then he realizes that, okay, it didn't work out, so now I have to spot dodge. Puts him in a bad situation. But again, Dusty's being more patient here. He's not super confident that he has time to grab for the jab or whatever, because by the time he realizes that there's a jab, especially online, Sword probably has time to do something else. So he jumps up, and like I said, the jump up will cover spot dodge. It'll cover, whiffing a jab like this or whatever, and he finds another hit like that. So the close quarters, like I said, is being definitely one of the areas where you see that Dusty's playing better. And with this fair for the kill, this is one of the first times that we see Sword being aggressive when the Shulk has smash. I'm not sure if he didn't realize, but it certainly doesn't work out for him well here. And you see he's also doing the same concept of where he's retreating with his spacing, Dusty is, to catch Sword whiffing and undershooting, not overshooting. And then he's able to catch that fair right there, taking that stock. That's a pretty crucial moment right there. Two bad decisions, one trying to play aggressive against... I mean, maybe he also wanted to do it because he could get a kill easier because he's in Smash, but sometimes that's a prettake. Let me take a look at this again after he responds. Okay, it goes for a read there. Not that much of a commitment, but... yeah, we see a few more whiffs coming out here from Sword. Again, he's jumping when he's in the corner or when he gets off the ledge. He's getting caught a lot here, probably starting to panic as the game slips away from him. Every time he's on one of these platforms too, he's jumping. Never forget, guys, when you're on a platform, whether you're above the opponent or if it's one of these Kalos town and city platforms where it's further towards the right or the left, or the sides, I should say, you can always drop through the platform. You can always stay on the platform a little bit longer and wait for the person to swing and then find your opportunity. Wait for them to swing twice even. You can take your time on a platform. Unless your opponent has a command grab or a shield break option in the air, you have time on the platform. Not to say that you should always use all of it, but you do have it. Yeah, like right there, he goes lower off the platform. That works out a lot better for him. Yeah, here's the roll again. There's no reason for him to roll here. This is a fine play. Like if Dusty misses the tech here, he dies. But then afterward, he goes for a roll. Like this is not really a logical play. Like he wasn't in danger of getting punished after the tech roll from Sword. So this is a situation where I think he just doesn't like that he put himself in the corner. But either way, definitely a bad habit. And spoiler alert, it comes in later in the game as well. So this is good. This back air out of shield here is an overshoot. So it kind of automatically overshoots because Chrom just drifts so fast. But he goes this back air and then he's catching the jump and moving away as Dusty might try and move away. Here he could be a little more patient with the landing. We haven't seen too much of these backslashes coming out. But there's the thing. Here's again the same thing. Dusty retreats. Catches Sword running in, not overshooting, gets hit by another fair. Okay. This roll in the corner is similar to what we saw before. It does happen to work out for him here, but this is very dangerous because if Dusty jumps backward here, instead of just continuing to space this aerial, then he would be able to back air him for that roll, for example. Or fair if he jumped back in the other position, so that's going to be a big deal. Again, this is a situation when he goes for this forward tilt. Again, this is where Sword wants to wait. Like after the roll, just wait and see what happens next. He's going for an option there too soon. He should just wait and recollect himself, which is what we've seen Dusty doing a great job of. Okay. So he's taking a little more time now with his swing series, catching himself. He almost gets this. This is kind of like an online thing. He tries to dash out, dash back in, and punish it. Probably best thing to do there is just shield it in place, because I assume that move is fairly unsafe on shield. Not going to lie to you, I really don't know how safe or not it is in this game, but I can't imagine it being too safe. So like if he just stays there, he could probably do a good job punishing it, even parry it if he wants. Okay, good play here, confident that this is again like kind of catching the drift back from the Shulk, catching him jump like he did before, because he has been jumping out of shield a lot. And he doesn't actually retreat with his jump here, Dusty. So that's actually part of this as well, even though I was saying this is a good play. If Dusty did retreat here, he might have also been able to find a punish on this back air, because Sword didn't really drift too far with it. So that is something to watch out for, that even though it happened to work out there, it's the same kind of play that's been working out poorly for him. And now he's in a bad spot. Again, he's been doing a good job of camping out the smash art. It's pretty tempting here to go for a falling up air after he sees this, like let go of shield, drop through the platform up air. But I don't blame him for just retreating and trying to get out of the situation. That nair there seems pretty safe. I'm not so sure if Shulk could just do a reverse up out of shield and punish this. Actually, he probably could. But at that point, he'd run out of Smash Monado anyway, so it's okay. Okay, I'm not sure what he was going for with this up air here. If he delayed this up air, this falling up air here a little bit, he might have been able to catch the tech. Like, just delay it to catch him on the way down, but at that point, the roll had already completed. And there's the jump again. We see this option so much from Sword. He's jumping from ledge, usually going for a fair with it, and he's getting caught so much for this, so he definitely needs to take a little bit more time. I'm not sure why Dusty even went for the back air here, because Sword has really shown that he's not mixing up his ledge options too much, besides for that. Okay, maybe a missed tomahawk there. I'm not even sure what we were seeing. Okay, the air dodge back. Gets the punish. He probably wanted to do a falling up air there off the platform. Some more fair whiffs there that are not the most unsafe, but could be tricky. Again, camping out the smash. He does a great job of that as usual. There's the same thing I talked about before with the forward air having really low lag, so he actually baits Dusty to try and drift in and get him, but he's not able to. Okay, that roll was better. Again, not trying to take much of the situation. Why not go for a jab here? Like, he'll get more reward here for going for a jab instead of going for a down tilt. I mean, he can get a tech chase with down tilt, but jab will get a true combo, so I think that's typically better unless he just really wants to rush the game out. Now, here's the roll again that we've been seeing. In this situation, they are right next to each other, so it's not quite as bad as in the other situations, but it's something that your opponent is probably going to be catching on to at this point, is that a lot of times when he's in the corner, he'll roll towards the center of the stage. Does find this forward smash, though, and because most times we've been seeing him roll, we do catch... well, actually, I think Dusty was going for the same kind of issue that we were talking about before. Like, he was spacing... Again, this is like an online thing, but he was spacing for where Sword was and didn't react to the fact that he rolled. So he almost loses stock right there. Okay. And that's what I'm talking about. This is exactly the thing. Especially since Dusty is like retreating here. Like, if you look, let me go back a few frames. This is why you know it's a habit, because Sword is not really even close to where Dusty is right here. And Dusty's been retreating so much that it's like unlikely that he's going to drift in. But even if he does drift in with the back air, it's not like it's going to hit him if he doesn't roll. Like, he can shield it. He can even roll to the left and he'll be safe. But there's just a bad panic roll right here that he's been doing a lot, like I said, from the corner going into the center of the stage. And this is just a reaction. Like, you know, Dusty might have thrown out this back air anyway, but once he just jumps away, it's just like, I hope you run in. I hope you run in and whiff a fair. I hope you roll in. All of these options he can cover with this back air. And at this percent, it's a kill option, so that's a crucial play. And that is the deciding factor. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. And once again, if you'd like a shot at winning one of these for yourself, you can go ahead and like and retweet that tweet. Or if you'd like to go straight for the prize, you can take advantage of these coaching options that I offer all the time. If you enjoyed this video, please do subscribe and click that bell to never miss out on more tech and tips. Bye-bye!